Hey, I'm Tom,
And I'm Josh.
and this is the BlockCast.
We're Lego fans. Click.
Is is that a flower?
It
That's a
is.
giant Lego flower. Where does he
Well,
get
I'm
these
holding it
things
close
in,
to the
buddy?
camera.
Uh, Hello and welcome back, everybody. Thank you very much to our new subscribers. We are now at 73 subscribers here on the BlockCast, which is really exciting because we do this for you, but we also do it for us because we love Lego.
Lego.
This week we are bringing back the Ultimate Lego Leaderboard
Board,
board.
board, 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 board.
And if you're unfamiliar with the Ultimate Lego Leaderboard, it is the ultimate saying in the sets that we review based off Josh's and my collective and kind of not disagree. We agree and disagree to put sets on a list and ultimately rank them out of 600 complete points. Yes, 600 points. Let me go ahead and share my screen to show you the set that we've chosen this week that we are going to review. And that set is going to be, Josh, let him
Say it
know.
out loud. It's the Twilight Cullen House.
Oh boy. Are you excited for this? I'm
Me,
excited for
personally?
this.
Mm, well, you'll have to check out my rankings here in just a few moments to see where I stand with the Twilight Cullen House.
As we learned with the endurance, when we did our full 15 categories, which we are keeping,
Mhm.
it took us a little while to get through the whole episode there. So Josh and I
Anyone that
went
made it
ahead.
through the whole episode really had some great endurance.
Yeah, really did. We'll go back to that right now. But we preemptively went ahead and filled in some categories that we didn't think were really necessary to talk about. We'll highlight them, but we're not necessarily going to fully touch on them. The ones that are zeroed out, that's going to be our talking points for today. Feel free to follow along if you agree with us. If you don't agree with us, let us know in the comments down below. But we are starting today off with playability. We both agreed the design was okay on the Twilight Cullen house. Josh gave high remarks to the build experience, though, and I
Yeah,
didn't think the build experience was that.
the build experience really comes in those little details that you as the builder see, but when it's on display or when you're showing it off, you don't really get that full experience. And the other part of the build experience is what you do while you build. Now, full transparency with this, the Twilight Cullen House, this was my wife's build. I got to watch. Yay me. But while she was building, we paired it with watching the films and listening to the audio commentary and learning about the movies. And what was really neat while she was building things that she was building, the filmmakers and the stars were talking about some of those exact details in the commentary of the movie. So it enhanced the build experience. When I build, I like to do that more often than not. I will pair my build with something to watch, oftentimes related to the set I'm building. It's not necessarily part of the Lego itself, but it is part of the build experience for me. That's why I did rank this one a little
But as we get to it, we're going to talk a little bit about playability. Now, if you're wondering any of our categories and how we judge them, feel free to look in the description. They'll fully describe as to what we're thinking about when we're talking within this category. In terms of playability, um, I think it has a fair amount of playability. You have a lot of minifigs in this set. You have 7 of them in total. You have 3 different levels that you can put your minifig on. The only concern that I have really with this is more so the layout and scaling of the house. It is quite narrow. Now, if you take a look at the photos on the Lego website, they really won't show you too much of a top-down view of other floors, but you can see how tight it already is. Based on playability, it doesn't fall through very well, at least for me, based on how you can move them around the house and get up the stairs. Now, remember, we're not only judging for our age range here. Lego is for everyone. So if you are a younger person or if you're an older person and want to enjoy this, I think the playability is there and the stories that you can create within this set are there as well. The functionality of the set, though, it is a little tight for the what the house is. Now, granted, price point and everything comes into that, but we're just talking playability. Um, so for me, you have a giant wolf, and a truck, and the tree. Can we talk about this tree? We've seen this tree before, Josh.
We have seen the tree before.
In the Age of Ultron Avengers set. Oh, it just doesn't have the snow on this one. Josh's favorite set, everybody.
Mm, keep an
um,
eye on the Ultimate Lego Leaderboard in the future to see our thoughts on the Age of Ultron.
but for this
It's a
set,
very nice tree.
for me, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give it a 13 out of 20. I think it does have playability there.
And I disagree.
Oh,
Maybe getting in there hands on and with the build experience. But there's so much, I feel like, more that could be done with this from a play aspect. If it was similar to the Home Alone house set where the
oh
panels
yeah,
opened
very
out,
true.
that would give more
I
of
didn't think about that.
a dollhouse type play with this. And I think that would be more suited to the characters, to the storytelling. It would open it up so you have more space to tell those stories, like Tom was saying. The garage door on this does not open; it's static
Such a
brick, and
disappointment.
and there are garage door pieces that it seems really strange to me that they wouldn't incorporate more elements that move. The tires of the truck move, so you can wheel it around,
It,
and there are. And Tom was talking about the tree. There is a neat component that you can attach Bella to Edward's back, just like in the movie. So he jumps out of the window, he grabs onto the tree. So there is some play in that, but it's more just it's less play and more ability to display the characters within a snapshot or a scene of the movie. I'm going to rate the play pretty low on this. I'm going to say it's a 6.
oh shoot. Okay. All right. Okay, we're a little bit different there. Now, the next category, we had value for money. We're relatively there at the 10 and 8. For me, it was the idea that this set didn't really have any exclusive pieces. The colors were a little bit different. I think there's going to be nostalgia for the minifigs, so I think that's why this set would be purchased out. But yeah, I don't think the value is there necessarily, like even in the long term for the physical pieces themselves.
And this one came out to about 11 cents per piece. So it's not super high. It's not high compared to some other sets that we've talked about in the past. And you do get 7 minifigs plus the brick built wolf. But again, the set's rather small.
Yeah.
And if you look at the original idea set, there was almost 800 pieces more in the original build. So there's some component there. I think that there could have been more value in this set
Now we're
for sure.
talking nostalgia here, Josh. Nostalgia
Yes.
for the connection to this set.
Now I believe it or not am a twihard. I was a twihard before my wife tried to convert me, and then she found out that I love the movies and the books. And then that was just like a match made in heaven. I have been watching this project from LEGO Ideas since it was first introduced on the site. I was an early follower of it. I have been watching it through its development. I saw it hit 10,000. I saw it get approved. I have been waiting years for this set. The nostalgia there, the personal attachment is there. It brings back memories from my college years. I don't really want to get into those stories on the BlockCast because they're not really Lego related, but here we are. My nostalgia is high on this one. I was super excited to get it in hand, even if I wasn't the one building it. I give it a 20.
Say that again.
I give it a 20.
20? All right,
Two
everyone.
zero.
This is Josh's first 20 on the ultimate Lego leaderboard for nostalgia connection to the Twilight Cullen house.
Mm-hmm.
This must have mean
Yes.
something really to you because I've seen all the movies. I give it a 2. I have
How
no
many of
connection to this.
how many of the movies have you seen?
All 3 of them.
There's 5.
All 5 of them. Well, I think they did like a Harry Potter and they split the last 2, didn't they? Or 3?
They split the last. There's 4 books in the series. They split the last book into 2 movies, so 5 movies total.
Okay, so that's
But they
where
have
the
not
3
yet
came in.
adapted Midnight Sun, which is the Twilight saga from Edward's perspective. So there is a potential for number 6.
We're gonna get to expansions in just a minute, Josh. I know you're excited.
I have to justify that 20 somehow.
I don't have an emotional connection to Twilight. Have I seen them all? Yes, I have. Um, I don't have the same attachment. I think it's fun. I think it's a great set for those that do, though. I think it's yeah. Minifigures. Let's talk about minifigures. Uh, minifigures, Josh.
Uh, I'm impressed with the minifigures in this set. There's 7 of them, though they're wearing normal clothes, yet they're still very identifiable as the characters. There's a really neat component
Wait a minute.
for those of you who maybe have not watched the films or read the books.
Wait a minute.
In the Twilight universe, vampires sparkle.
Wait a minute.
What have you got there, Tom?
Wait a minute. If you take the hair and hat off Abraham Lincoln, he
What?
kind of looks like an older version of Edward.
Are you saying it's Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter?
Can you imagine that? Oh, that's fan fiction. I copyright that.
Expansion potential.
Expansion potential. Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter versus the Cullen House. Oh,
Anyway,
I
uh,
digress. Tell me about this, Josh. What were you saying?
sparkling vampires in sunlight, they shine and glisten. Edward's face is double-sided, and one side of it actually has a component that gives the appearance that he is sparkling. So I think that's really neat that they're bringing in that level of detail. I do think that Charlie's hair isn't quite right. Jacob comes with 2 hair pieces, his longer hair that you see in the first movie and the shorter hair that you see in the rest of the films. I actually think his shorter hair piece would work better on Charlie than the hair piece that came with Charlie. But again, as the builder, you can make those decisions. You can customize, modify, or whatever. But straight out of the box, I
Is
think they did a really good job for the most part.
is the father supposed to be Howard Stark, or is it just me?
See, it's the hairpiece. Like I said, we just need to tweak that ever so slightly. Um, I'm going to go ahead and give 16 in this category.
Oh,
They did, like I said, I think they did a good job with the characters that they included and the number of minifigs that you get overall, and how it gives you opportunities to tell the stories.
okay. I see. I can see what you mean. I do like the idea that they made a specialty for his for when you can flip his head. Um, for me, the characters are recognizable. I do like the print on brick for the clothing, and this is where I'm blurring categories a little bit, where we talked about value for money, and we have minifigures, and minifigures is the quality, uniqueness, and included figures. Um, they are unique in the fact of the printed brick and the prints themselves. As far as recognizable, if you were to lose them and you are not a Twilight fan, they don't stand out significantly from other minifigures. I do like the print on brick. I do like they have different mixes. He has the same hair as her. It would have been nice to see him like do like ponytail, like long hair combo. Granted, I used to have long hair, so there's a lot that you can do with hair, but they literally have the same hair mold piece. And if you remember from our Lego history, I think it's Qui-Gon Jinn was the first newly molded hair piece, like for long hair, for the first time in something of like 20 years with the Lego company.
Mm-hmm.
So long hair in the Lego company when it comes to minifigs is actually quite interesting because you have to mold them around the piece themselves. So I see what you're talking about. I do like that this gives you a lot of options, especially if you want to do mocks, not necessarily with the Twilight figures, but utilizing their bodies in other facets. I do find it
That sounds like
interesting.
fan fiction there.
Uh, uh, we'll get to that. And then I have a surprise for you, Josh, and I want to see if you know it.
I'm
Uh,
scared.
then we also have short sleeves, which is interesting. I haven't seen that really. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to judge it as I'm gonna give it a 12.
Hmm.
It's
Okay.
not as significant as other characters could be. We talked about innovation.
We matched.
We matched. Literally, it's a square house. The garage door doesn't open. If the garage door opened, that'd be pretty cool. Because
There are
everybody
some
does that. Everybody does that differently. Everybody does that differently on how they
there
build
are
garage
some
doors.
decent angles and that sort of thing, but really, we've seen the tree before. We've seen trucks that look similar before. There's not a lot new here other than the minifigs.
No. We have durability. Can you throw it against a wall? No, I'm kidding. Our category is based on sturdiness, resistance to wear and tear. If this is sitting on your shelf, to be honest, Josh had a higher score than me. For
Mhm.
me, it was about dust. Um, it prevents a lot of dust, but then you also have a very large flat surface for that. I think the rigidity of the build, in and of itself, it being a structure, is strong. The wolf probably not as strong. The truck will be fine. The tree, maybe not. You walk past it, you get it caught on your sleeve, it'll get pulled over. But other than that, 15 because it's a sturdy structure.
Yeah, it's very strong. The colors don't show the dust that it would collect as much as if it were like a black house or something of that nature. Um, and ultimately, putting it together, it was very sturdy. The extra support that they had built in, prevented the occasional collapse that can happen when you're building a structure. So it was a fairly solid set.
The next category that we are covering is displayability. And for me, I gave it high playability. And remember, you can have high playability and you can have high displayability. It doesn't teeter-totter. It doesn't have to teeter-totter. It can have both, and I think this set does. It is designed to be displayed. Can it be played with? Yes. Is there a play design element in it? More than likely, but when developing it, it's really meant for, those that want to put it on display on a shelf. And that's how I recognize it. It's built modularly, so you can set up different scenes if you want to take photos, which is also meant for display as well. I think it's just done very well in terms of like if you have a wonderful like a library or somewhere that you could put this and display it really nicely. I think it fits really well in a scene if you are a Twilight fan and you can encompass it with other Twilight objects and or expand on it. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to give this a 15. I think it's high for me. This is one of my higher categories. Yeah, this is my
I
highest.
agree. I think that this set is prone to displayability. Obviously I did rate it low on playability. The display is there exactly like Thomas said. It looks great. If you have a Twilight collection, if you don't have a Twilight collection, um, I I find the aesthetic of kind of a woodsy, dark greens and browns to be aesthetically pleasing. So even on its own, take out the theme of Twilight. I still think it's a striking set from an architectural standpoint. These types of houses are more modern. They're very sleek in design. It looks great. The garage door, though it doesn't open, it looks really good. I like how they used those are brick pieces but turned backwards, so it has that almost dual layer feeling to it. It looks great. The wolf's a little big in context of the rest of the build. It's bigger than the truck. Um, so from a proportional standpoint, it's not perfect, but I am going to give displayability a 17.
17. Okay.
Yeah, because I think that is um, the main draw of this set is that it looks great on a shelf.
We then reviewed theme representation. We both agreed it does represent Twilight very well. There's nothing else to be said with that. Part selection, it's a square house. They used traditional brick. They used stickers for majority of the what could have been print on bricks.
Yes.
There's really no part that is very unique or different in this set. Um,
Mock builders will appreciate maybe the window elements because those glass pane windows are not necessarily the most common, the bigger ones anyway. So I think that can definitely be used in different mocks. So that particular component could be useful. Some of the knickknacks and things can definitely be incorporated into other sets, but it's nothing that we haven't seen before. We talked about the tree. We've seen that in the Age of Ultron. It includes pieces.
It
It
includes
includes brick.
pieces. Let's talk about instruction quality.
Mm.
Uh,
Instruction
w-
quality. For those of you that watch the Endurance, there's a lot to an instruction booklet, and this is an idea set. So the instruction starts off really strong. As you open the book, it tells you about the fan designer. It talks about then how the Lego Master Builders took that design and made it work for a a consumer for to be able to actually sell the idea. But then after that, it's just the build. There are no fun facts like we had with the Endurance. There's no behind the scenes trivia to explain some of the finer details. If you're not a Twilight fan, there's going to be things that you'll be completely out of the loop on. There, one of the photos inside the house is a picture of the Loch Ness monster, and it's for fans of the books or rather fans of the movie. It's a really clever nod to a line in Breaking Dawn Part 2 where Bella yells at Jacob for nicknaming her daughter after the Loch Ness Monster. That if you don't know Twilight, that reference is completely lost on you. And having that as a blurb in the instruction manual would enhance the build experience for more casual fans or casual builders, rather. So I think that's a missed opportunity that I was actually rather surprised that there wasn't more in the instruction to kind of talk through that the part selection decisions and things of that nature. But from a color perspective, the colors are vibrant. When you have a lot of darker colors like that, sometimes it's hard to tell which shade of brown or which shade of gray it is that needs to go into that specific step. This is printed very well. It's very easy to discern that. But overall, I'm going to give the instructions a 10.
yeah, I'm going to share a similar opinion with you. Um, when we did the endurance had something that gave you, if you were a nautical fan coming into it, you appreciated the instructions. What the instructions and the endurance allowed you to do, if you were not a nautical fan, was understand the nautical theme and understand what you were building, and it gave you more appreciation for what you were building. Like Josh was mentioning when he was watching the film while building this, there's nothing that highlights significant moments while you complete a room or something that has happened within this set that gives it the significance that it needs. Meaning that you could add a blurb as to why the piano is this, why the photo is the seagull. See, not the
That
seagull,
table
the
you see in that image there is the table that Bella is thrown against in the first movie when she cuts her finger and Jasper goes to attack her. So that again is a nod to the film that okay, it's a pretty table, but within the context of the movies, it's significant. But there's nothing notating that.
no. And that's where this set was loved and worked on. Because if we go back, the one thing I did like is that Lego acknowledges the creator, the original creator, and also features the original build. Here we go. If you take a look at down here, this is the original build of what it looked like, and you can see how many more pieces that it was. It gives you the connection to the builder, but you also want to have the connection to the film.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there's enough information that would want, like, you want to become a Twilight fan, right? But you want the set to be inspired by the movie and the movie to be inspired by the set.
Right.
So, and that's where I think it lacks as well. I'm gonna follow in your shoes, and I'm gonna go ahead and give it an 8. I don't think there's enough. I think the Endurance did a much better job with its instructions.
Yes.
Josh, expansion potential.
It's fair. It's not typical for an idea set to expand into its own unique theme. It's happened before. We've seen it with Sonic, um, and I think that's it. I can't think of any other ones off the top of my head that actually expand it further into a full theme. But there is potential for expansion within the Twilight universe. There's other houses they can build. They can build the school. They can build even some of the forest scene or the iconic meadow would be a really cool build, bringing in some of the components of the Lego Botanical series. There's a lot that could be done to expand Twilight into its whole theme. But if that's not the case, even incorporating this into other themes, it's a modular building. It fits scale wise with other similar buildings like the A-frame cabin or some of the modulars. So if you have a city, this house could fit right into that, even if you take out the Twilight component of there. So I do think there is expansion potential because of it. Because its ideas, it could be limited. I don't really know exactly what we would see going forward, but because of that potential for expansion, I'm going to say 15.
Wow. Okay. 15. Okay. Now here's the part in the show where I think of something so out of the box that it's unbelievable. And well, in doing this and doing my research and prepping for the episode, I learned a lot more about Twilight than I ever needed to know. So, talking about expansion potential and MOCs and mocks, granted, this is under part selection as well, but expansion in terms of like, people come up with other Lego ideas, utilizing pieces and parts from this set, right? Expansion. So,
Sure.
Josh, are you familiar with that there was a lot of fan fiction written about Twilight?
Mhm.
And a lot of that fan fiction utilized the same names of the characters and what have you. But it was a little bit, let's say, it's a family friendly show, everybody. It was raunchy. It was very raunchy fan fiction, but a lot of people like the raunchy fan fiction. So
I
much
think I
so
know
that
where you're going with this.
a publisher came in and said, "Your fan fiction is so popular, we want to turn it into a book." And the person that wrote it was like, "Cool." But they're like, "We can't use those names because they're used in Twilight. But we're going to totally go with the flow on that one." And so they renamed the characters. And remember, people can build a mock utilizing this now. Because the fan fiction that then spun off into a major series and a major publishing book that did really well and turned into a movie series, 50 Shades of Grey, everybody.
I've got two shades of gray here.
I've got two shades. So, 50 Shades of Grey, the story, if you're unfamiliar, is based off of Twilight series. So, in theory, we're gonna see people that build mocks of 50 Shades of Grey utilizing the Twilight Cullen house.
You're not wrong, unfortunately.
It's gonna happen, people.
I did not see this episode going this direction, but you're not wrong.
No.
Uh, yes, I guess I, I mm, I'm gonna say we will never see an official Lego Ideas set based on that expansion potential, though.
Out of 50 Shades of Grey? What do you mean? I digress, everybody. But think about it. It's gonna happen. But will people publicly share it? Of course they will. I'm gonna give it a 13.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think there is potential. Not necessarily for 50 Shades of Grey, but for the Twilight series and all of its movies. I think we could potentially see expansions. What would be cool? Imagine if they made a minifig series, like a blind bag of the remaining characters. You could have,
Oh
right?
yeah,
That'd be cool.
definitely. There's so many different vampires and other characters.
They
I
did it
think
with
that would be a
Dungeons and
great expansion.
Dragons. They can do it with Twilight. All right.
Honestly, Tom, your score with that one, I was thinking maybe you were going 17 plus with that.
That was good. All right, exclusive elements. There weren't a lot. It's just like
Yeah,
with the part selection.
he has a
We're
frowny
gonna
face.
we kept it low. Josh kept it mid, and now we're gonna talk about wow, or as Owen Wilson likes to say, wow.
Oh,
Wow factoring, considering the overall impression and excitement that generates upon its completion. Josh, what do you got?
I was more excited for the build up to this set and the experience in building it than the ultimate final product. I was disappointed that there were no printed bricks, that there weren't more interactive elements. The garage door didn't open. Um, it does look great on the shelf, I will say that, but the overall experience, the instructions lacking. I couldn't give this as much of a wow as I had built up. I think it's partially my fault, that nostalgia, personal attachment factor. I hyped this up so much in my brain that ultimately it fell short. Giving the wow a 9.
Ooh,
Yeah,
okay.
we're gonna edit this part
So
out before we show my wife.
so this was a not a wow.
So
Uh, for,
wow.
for me, it's a modular structure with themed minifigures. Granted, whatever, that's normal, and you could say, oh well, you could do that about anything. The detail of the house is there, but at the end of the day, it's 3 stories. It has the car. I just wish it doesn't have that, like, if you wanted to make it the wow for me, it's going to cost you $450 and it's going to be twice as many pieces. They did their best
True.
is
Yeah.
with what they had. They wanted to sell it, so they included more minifigures and they gave you a wolf and no functional garage door because they would have had to add mechanics in that and try to make it functional and take out a room and it would be an empty. I get it. For me, it's a modular structure that features themed minifigures. It has the Age of Ultron tree and a wolf. I'm gonna give it. Was that too generic? I'm gonna give it a 6. Yeah, it wasn't. There was no wow factor. Please don't show your wife my score either. All right, with that, my total points. This is how it works, everybody. This is how it's gonna go now. 146 points for Tom. 185 point. Wait, what did you score the endurance? 100. Wait a minute. 185 points for Josh, totaling 331 points. Meaning,
All right.
Twilight Cullen House, 331 points.
Wow.
It,
Wow. That's the wow factor.
but
I was not expecting to see that so close to the endurance score.
here's the thing, Josh. You 100 you were 3 points away from the endurance.
That's really interesting because this is an entirely different build and experience, but I
That's
guess
how
the
the
minifigs saved it.
that's how it goes, everyone. Certain categories can save certain sets, and certain
Huh.
things can ruin it others, and you get closer than you think. So, Twilight Cullen House is currently in second place. Everything can change from here on forward. If you have an idea or a set that you'd like us to review to add to the Ultimate LEGO Leaderboard, please let us know, and we are more than happy to do it. Josh, tell them what
And I
they
did
need to do.
well to get myself out of the doghouse so I'm not sleeping with that wolf. I do need to share my wife's score. She decided to participate, so we have some special scoring here. If you want to go back to our leaderboard, Tom, I'll just run through it really quick here to give it its due. This will definitely give it a little bit of a boost. But for design, 19. Build experience for her was a 20. She agreed. Playability was not there, so she gave it a 10. Value was a 15. Nostalgia personal attachment, however, was 200 million. Uh, Minifigs were 19. She appreciated the innovation. For her, it was new as 20, as well as the next 6 categories. All 20s. Very impressed with the building experience, I guess, and durability and theme and whatnot. When we get down a little bit lower instruction quality, she gave a 17. We um, discussed expansion. She agreed, so she said 20. Um, the exclusive elements was a unimpressive 15, but still higher than Tom and I. But the wow factor for her again, just a solid 200 million
As is
points,
expected.
naturally. So the audience is there. Our I really wanted to share her scores just to highlight that the opinions of Tom and I, it's different, and that's how it should be for every Lego builder. How the set relates to you and your experiences, what you do with them. That's the great thing about Lego is there is something for everybody. And I think that's why we like doing the ultimate Lego leaderboard.
Board.
So if you agree, if you think that is there is something for everyone, continue to check us out, continue to watch, like, subscribe. Let us know in the comments how you would rate the Twilight Cullen House. We'd love to hear about it.
My name's Tom,
And I'm Josh.
and you have been enjoying the BlockCast.
We're Lego fans. Click.
Bye, everybody.
Take care.